Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. Caroline Glick is one of Israel's most astute and discerning journalists. I'm always eager to read her columns whenever they come out. And her most recent article is one entitled Mainstreaming Anti-Semitism. She begins by saying anti-Semitism may not yet be the litmus test for social acceptability in the United States, but it certainly is becoming acceptable. Anti-Semitism is back in style. Its new justification is not race or religion, it's nationalism. Today's anti-Semitism is predicated on preferring Palestinian and pan-Arab nationalism to Jewish nationalism. And like its racist and religious predecessors, its aim is to deny the right of Israel to exist and for Jews to be free. Against all reason, anti-Semitism is becoming politically correct. We've spoken of this before, and I've said, and I continue to realize, and I'm sure you may too, that anti-Semitism is on the rise. It's pervasive, actually, in our secular campuses, in academia, in the political science departments, in the humanities, the Middle East Studies program. It is rampant, and it's growing in media. It's more acceptable, politically correct in the media and in the entertainment field. But at the bottom, it voices the same sentiments that Haman did in the book of Esther when he came to the king and trying to incite him against the Jews of that time. He said this, "There is a certain people dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom who keep themselves separate. Their customs are different from all those of other peoples, and they do not obey the king's laws. It's not in the king's best interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them." Things have not changed. They become politically correct. Sometimes that anti-Semitism is veiled under the mask, or behind the mask, I should say, of anti-Israelism or anti-Zionism. Natan Sharansky, former Jewish dissident from Russia, immigrated to Israel, and he served in the Israeli Knesset for some time. He's now head of the Jewish Agency. He says there's a 3D test to anti-Semitism. The first D is the test of demonization. When the Jewish state is being demonized, when Israel's actions are blown all out of sensible proportion, when comparisons are made between Israelis and Nazis, when Palestinian refugee camps are compared to Auschwitz, this is anti-Semitism, not legitimate criticism of Israel. The second D is the test of double standards. When criticism of Israel is applied selectively, when Israel is singled out by the United Nations for human rights abuses, while the behavior of known and major abusers, such as China and Iran, Cuba, and Syria, are ignored. The suicide bombers of the Palestinian jihadists are considered a moral equivalent of those responses, those military responses that Israel brings to those suicide bombers. That's a double standard. And then third test is the test of delegitimization. When Israel's fundamental right to exist is denied alone among all peoples in this world, this is anti-Semitism. Their very right to exist as a nation, as a people. Their delegitimization, that's anti-Semitism. I would suggest to you, on the basis of the scriptures, it's not going to change, it's going to get worse. And so what are we to do? What are Christians to do in response to this? I think the Apostle Paul gives us direction from Romans chapter 11, verses 28 through 32. He says, "But as far as their election is concerned," that is the Jews, "they're loved on account of the patriarchs, for God's gifts and call are irrevocable. Just as you were at one time disobedient to God, but have now received mercy as a result of their disobedience, so they too have now become disobedient, in order that they too may receive mercy as a result of God's mercy to you." And he concludes by saying, "For God has bound everyone over to disobedience, so that he may have mercy on us all, Jew and Gentile." Praise God for his mercy. So until next week, Od ki yavo Shiloh, or until Messiah comes, Shalom Aleichem.